Well, we're coming to the close. We've got 2 more speakers. It's a lovely, humid day. It's like Singapore, isn't it, eh? But I really hope you've enjoyed yourself today and learnt a bit. And I really hope that looking at this great, vast crowd in front of me, you're all going to become activists and fight with us against the spread of Sharia in this country. Let it be here, on this day, that we say, no Sharia in Australia. Our next speaker is from the Rise Up Australia Party. I'd like to introduce Anthony.
Yeah, hello everyone. It's a real honour and privilege to be able to be invited by this group of auspicious people to this occasion. And I'm just amazed. Hey? Louder. Okay. Let me thank the organisers for getting together such an amazing bunch of people. It takes an enormous amount of organisational skills, an enormous amount of guts to take on, you know, the people that are saying nothing at the moment. And I'd like to really raise up before you today a guy called Craig. I only met him about a few days ago in preparation for this rally. And I tell you what, I was blown away by this guy. Here's a guy, I don't know exactly how old he is, but he's quite young. And I thought, wow, what a leader, what a visionary, what a guy that is rising up from his youth and taking on this enormous task to educate people. So I'd like to give the organisers and Craig particularly an enormous hand, please. So this morning when I was preparing to come here, I was thinking, why am I coming here to stand on this platform? You'd be saying the same thing. I could be home with the family, I could be with the friends, I could be on the beach. Well, it's about important issues that keep me awake at night. It's about things that are going on in the world that I had no idea about until a couple of years ago. It's about things that are going on in Australia, unknown to most people, that I didn't know until recently, which have shocked me to the core. It's about me having had my head in the sand, working hard, contributing to the country, but blindly thinking that the governments of the day were looking after the people of Australia. It was a stark realization that the leaders of our governments are ignorant of the real issues facing the country, and their petty bickering in Parliament over insignificant issues are distracting this nation from the real issues and challenges facing us. I am here today to plead with the people of our nation not to remain ignorant of the issues, but go and find out for yourselves what is really going on. Educate yourselves, gain the knowledge to make your own well-researched conclusions. I urge you not to just rely on these actually amazing speakers today, but don't rely on the speakers of today. Don't rely on the media. Don't rely on Facebook. Go and find out for yourself the truth. I'm here today to plead with this nation to stop being complacent. It will be all right, mate. He's not going to sort out this challenge. But most of all, I'm here today for my children and for their children too. And I want to ensure that I do my bit for the future of this country, that we have and the generations before us have worked for and fought so hard for. The silent majority cannot remain silent any longer, while our politically correct governments controlled by the United Nations agenda to sell our country into the hands of minority groups such as Islam, whose population is only 2% of Australia. Islamism is the greatest threat facing the world right now, and it's finding its way into the Western world through the gateway called multiculturalism. The West, which was built on Judeo-Christian values, is losing all she stands for in the name of political correctness and multiculturalism. Many countries in Europe could become Islamic countries in the next 20 years, with Sharia law as the law of their countries. Isn't that frightening? Currently, there are hundreds of no-go zones, in other words, Islamic Sharia zones, all through Europe, where non-Muslims are not welcome. The French government calls it culturally sensitive zones and warns its citizens to avoid going there. We say no to Islamic Sharia law and no to Sharia zones in Australia. We are called to love all people, but it is our right to seriously examine the teachings of Islam, as it teaches its followers to do horrible things to infidels, infidels being non-believers of Islam. Dr. Nalia, the president of Rise Up Australia Party, always states, there are tens of thousands of peaceful Muslims, but they are not true Muslims. For a true Muslim is a person who follows their Prophet Muhammad. As you heard earlier today, their Prophet Muhammad personally beheaded some 800 people and led his armies in many wars where they slaughtered entire villages, raped women, and kidnapped young girls to be sex slaves. So a peaceful Muslim cannot be a true Muslim, and a true Muslim cannot be a peaceful Muslim. So what are we trying to reclaim in Australia? We want to reclaim the freedom of speech. We want to get rid of the political correctness. The right to celebrate Christmas and Easter, where our children can have Christmas trees and nativity scenes in their schools. The right for our children to take whatever food they like to school and not worry about offending a Muslim. We have the right to halal-free products. And we want to reinforce the Judeo-Christian heritage. We want to remove the word multiculturalism. Instead, we embrace the use of the term multi-ethnicism. No Sharia law. And our servicemen, how appalling is it that they cannot walk down the street proudly in their uniforms for fear of being attacked and taken advantage of? The rights of our women must be protected. No child brides and female genital mutilation. We must work towards protecting our country for the next generation. The Anzacs paid with their lives for our freedom. We must do all that we can to protect our children and protect Australia for our children and grandchildren. So what can we do? There's a book being written by Dr. Nalia called The 21st Century Culture War in the West. And he puts in 20 points. I won't go through them all, but if you can get your hands on it, it's worth reading. We should pass laws to stop Islamic Sharia law infiltrating our legal system. vigorously promote integration of immigrants into the Australian culture, spread the resettlement of immigrants across differing suburbs to avoid future enclave issues, especially people from the Middle East. Islamic cultures across the board in the UK and Europe have shown to seek self-rule under Sharia in their host nation. Reduce the immigration intake of cultures that find it hard to assimilate into the culture and way of life of Australia. Make it compulsory that immigrants speak or learn English in Australia. Stop interpreter services after 6 to 12 months of any immigrant entering the country. Understand and acknowledge the problem is not Islamic terrorism, but Islam itself and the Quran. We should allow police to profile security issues on the basis of culture. Deal quickly with people who speak or promote violent jihad. Be proud of Australia, our history, our heroes, and celebrations like Anzac Day. Stand up for our nation. Don't let labels such as racist shut you up, especially aren't one. Spend time educating the next generation, our children and our grandchildren, about Western civilization, values and heritage. Bring back the Bible into the school system. The majority of Australians are Christians. Stop apologizing for the truth and remove speaking truth as a function of democracy. And we need tighter border security. And finally, ban the face veil. It's a security risk and culturally alienating. Australians, and especially West Australians, it's time to wake up. Find out what's going on in our beloved country, right under our noses. Tell your neighbours, tell your friends, tell your families and relatives. Be bold. Be bold and have a voice that will be heard. It is time that the government of the day stands up for its people who voted them into power and take decisive action to secure our country. I thank you so much for your time today and attention, and may God bless Australia.
Anthony from Rise Up Australia, guys, give a round of applause.